Hey guys, if you're looking for help with your Amazon business in terms of troubleshooting or strategy, visit sellersessions.com/consultancy or drop me a message to danny@sellersessions.com. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I bring in Kevin King and Liran Hirshkorn. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Danny?
Yep, all good. So it's nearly the end of the year. So 2019 is nearly upon us. I thought we maybe do a bit of a roundup of what's gone on. A huge amount of changes that's taken place on Amazon over the years, incredible amount of things. And also take a little look at predictions for 2019, see what's in the crystal ball. But yeah, I'd like to get your opinions on those kind of things. So is there anything you want to say before we start? No?
I think I would say, 2018 has been a year with a lot of changes. I mean, in so many different areas with Amazon that we'll probably talk about from things like, sponsored products and some new things we could do there to, massive review sweeps to Black Hat, just creeping up more in the second half of the year. So a lot of things are changing at Amazon, and I think 2019 will not be different in terms of the amount of changes that are going to come.
Yeah. So should we start with the rise of the bots? I mean, we've covered it numerous times on the show, but I don't think that's slowing down in any way, shape or form. I think if anything, more and more people are getting into them in different ways, shapes and forms, whether even if they're doing it off of Amazon as well as part of their overall strategy, which relates to, say, a Shopify site and stuff. Are you, to be honest, me personally, I haven't been using them much. It's one of those things where I go, right, I must get round to doing them, and you don't, because your space is taken up with a load of other things. But it's one of those things that's always been on my list to use more of and leverage, but I don't. So, Liran, where are you with bots at the moment?
Yeah, so I have bots built out, and I have some flows and sequences, and I've done some sort of ad hoc blasts when like I have a lightning deal or when I want to rank a new product, and I've used it. It's not something I'm using I would say on like a very regular basis, but when I launch a new product, I'll utilize that audience. Or if I have lightning deals or something going on Amazon, I'll send a blast down. I've kind of built out, a couple different lists. I've built out, an audience of people who like my brand as sort of one list where I'm not really discounting, more than like 20% or something to that list. And then I built out another list that's like a deal club type list, more for, like ranking type purposes, like deep discounts. So for each of my brands, so I kind of have one list that's just tied to like, this like Amazon deals page that I created. And then I have, two lists for each of my brands. It's definitely, a lot more responsive than email marketing. So it's something I think, I'd like to focus more on for 2019. I also think, at some point in 2019, I think Facebook is going to implement some fees around how you can utilize this. I think I read something that, when you have a new customer, you can send like a promotional message within the first 24 hours, but then I think like future promotional things, I think Facebook is going to start to figure out how to monetize it. And then I also think bots are going, if we talk a little bit about predictions, I think you're going to start seeing Instagram message bots coming out probably in 2019, and, maybe something related. It'll be interesting to see if Facebook starts to monetize WhatsApp also, because that's, another huge platform.
Yeah, makes sense. Kevin, where are you with bots?
Yeah, I think this year was definitely the year that ManyChat came to the surface for a lot of people. I remember being at TNC, Traffic and Conversion, a couple years, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and Ryan Dice up on stage saying that chatbots are the future. And I was like, what are you talking about? What are these chatbot things? But this year, definitely it came to the forefront. I don't think as many people in the Amazon space are using them as we think. I think there's been a lot of talk, and there's a lot of, people pushing courses and pushing different things, but I think only some of the more advanced sellers are using them, like Liran and some of the more top level. But I think the average person on Amazon, the vast majority, are not using them because it's too, even though it's creating the flows is really not that difficult. It's a different way of thinking, and it's something that a lot of people have a little trouble getting their head around, doing the
totally
flow chart. The flow charts and then people understand it. They watch a webinar, they watch something like this looks cool, and they might buy something. But then I don't know that a lot of them actually end up implementing. But the people that are doing it, I think most of them, if they're doing it correctly, are seeing some pretty decent results. So it is a strategy that if you're not doing it, you should definitely look into. But it needs to be. It's more for the advanced sellers. If you're a new seller, you need to get some other ducks in a row first.
Yeah. Definitely. No, I totally agree. It's one of those things where you look at it in principle, you go, oh, that looks really easy to set up. But I think anyone who uses ManyChat in the very beginning for the first time, there is a barrier to entry. You think, all right, this should be straightforward, but it's not very intuitive when it goes wrong. When you're trying to put those flows together and you don't fully understand, you might watch part of the video, then jump back on there. I think it can be a bit tricky. You have to understand the nuances when you're setting it up.
It's programming. I mean, it's straight programming. So the people that have more of a programming type of mind, or come from that, it's natural and easy for them. And I think you're going to see, like Liran said, next year, I think you're going to see Instagram. And Instagram is where all the young people are. I mean, most people under 25 or 30 are not even on Facebook. Or they having a Facebook account, but they log in once a year. But Instagram is where all the younger. So if you're selling products toward a younger generation, they're all on Instagram. So I think that's going to change some stuff too. And I think you're going to see more potentially SMS. There's sites like Mobit and some others out there, but they were just talking about it at an event I was just recently at. So people are crushing it on SMS and having even better, more control over their audience and better results than even chatbots. So I think you may see some people playing around there, some more advanced sellers, and that might trickle down a little bit too.
Yeah, sounds good. So let's talk about ranking. It's always been a contentious issue that always comes up. There are people out there say it works, it doesn't work. But we have seen loads of different variables this year. We've seen various different you've seen for yourself when you've been in the groups where people will say simply they don't work. We know a lot of the time these, people not knowing how to utilize them properly or willing to give away the right amount of units. Will they then say, if you were to pick it apart, it does work, but it didn't work for them because their lack of knowledge, or they're pissed off because maybe it didn't stick. So they blame the ranking thing, even though they ranked and they dropped off. They would then go and say that it doesn't work, but really it's down to the product and that the customer didn't see the value and put the attention towards it. I mean, we've covered on the show like 1-day launches, 7-day launches, 30-day launches. I mean, using different URLs and stuff. Where are you guys seeing launches at the moment and the effectiveness of it? Sorry.
From what I'm seeing, the best way to launch is search, find, buy. That's basically just like a customer would. So a lot of people, because of what Amazon has done, and a lot of people are doing gray hat stuff where they're either paying a service or they're setting up chatbots or they're doing something to get people to buy at full price and then perhaps rebating them on the back end. I personally have never done that, but I think a lot of people are doing that. To rank, and that's definitely the number one way if you do that right. But as far as the URLs, most of them still work. It's not but you'll have people that will, we're going to see a wave of this the first part of January where people say they don't work. It's because there's a lag effect over November and December. The numbers are inflated. The 7-day averages, 30-day averages are inflated, so you have to give away more. But the other thing is you look at these services, some of the launch services or some of the other tools that are out there. And sometimes, Helium 10 they're not too bad at it. They have their, the CPR method, but there's none of it's an exact science. So, I mean, you have to have a good listing and you got to have a good price and people have to want your stuff to stay. But sometimes, they may say you need to give away 200 units, and this is they all base it on a formula based on the keyword search volume and a few other competition and some other factors. But what most people don't realize is the vast majority of products on Amazon make all their sales on 3 to 8 keywords. So just because a keyword has 50,000 exact searches, doesn't mean it's better than one that has 5,000, because actually most of the sales might be coming off the 5,000 one. So they may target the wrong keyword, or on the flip side of that, they may target the smaller keyword and not give away enough because they don't realize that the one that has 5,000 has a 40% conversion rate, and the one that has 50,000 has a 5% conversion rate. And so they fail. There's a whole number of reasons that people fail. There's a lot of variables in it. But the best way is a multi-pronged approach, is to use some of the URLs, to use your own list or group if you have it, to go out there to do an Amazon giveaway, the one where people can randomly get the product for free, to use influencers just to flood it with all kinds of directions. Amazon actually likes that.
Yeah, I'm thinking, along the same lines of what you said, if you remember the old days of like Google ranking before, Google made all these updates. If anyone has like an SEO background, you remember all these services out there that used to have these like, circular charts of all the different places and bookmarks and blogs and links and everything that they use to backlink and link to your website to show this diversity, right? And I think that's some of what's happening when, with Amazon. If you're using just one URL with one source of traffic, for example, it's not going to be as effective as, like Kevin said, your own list. Maybe use some Google ads to a two-step kind of URL, Facebook traffic, a launch service, rebate key, whatever it is. You diversify the sources, and you're sending the right signals to Amazon that people are talking about your brand and it's coming from multiple sources. And I think that's a more effective strategy. And I do think the URLs still work, whether, you're using a brand URL or an ASIN URL, or, I think even a storefront URL. I think the URLs still work. And I've seen the rankings go up, and then, sometimes they drop off. But like you said, I think it's a matter of the product. At some point, the product needs to stand on its own. Yeah. And if it doesn't, then it's gonna fall off pretty quickly. So you need to kind of be able to maintain that velocity, which means you need to have a strategy for post launch, right? Mm-hmm. You need to be aggressive, I think, on your pricing. You need to be targeting an exact match PPC for the keywords you want. Be aggressive with PPC. Utilize all these signals together when you're launching a product. I think ultimately it's going to be a lot more effective. And again, keeping the conversions post launch, I think, is really important.
Yeah. And the other thing is that Amazon is, they're onto this. I mean, they know what's happening. Some of it's easy to fix right away. Some of it's not a top priority. Some of it is let the products prove themselves. They have to have a chance to prove themselves. But they're also looking at buyers, and the system. They know if this buyer is a quality buyer. Some people say there's a score. I haven't actually seen proof of that.
Well, I was going to say, we had Leo Lemon, like what you're saying about the buyer accounts.
Yeah, so the guys that are on one of these launch services, and all they do is buy stuff for $1 10 times a week or whatever, they're really not a real customer. And Amazon, I think, is taking some of that into account now, that, hey, this is not really a true person that's interested in this product. And so I think that's one of the big changes that's come about. No one knows the exact science on that, I don't think, but there's something behind it.
Yeah, and I've seen those internal screenshots, of like customers being scored, and it makes so much sense, right? That Amazon has it sort of, customers that never buy anything on the site and just browse, and then customers who buy everything, and then middle of the road customers, and it makes sense for them to do that. Who they're going to display ads to and like optimize around makes a lot of sense. They're going to show ads to the people who are most likely to buy, not just every single customer, right? Like based on the algorithm. So it would make a lot of sense that if those sort of garbage customers that are buying, only 90% off, that the weighting wouldn't be as effective. And so if you're only using a launch service that continues to target to the same audience, then it's not going to be as effective if you're mixing in sort of regular customers along with that.
Yeah. So when I spoke to Leo, because we had him on the show about it, and what he was saying, because I heard about it, but it's like these mythical things that happen in paradise, but we can't prove it. He was saying, look, we use a filtering process because, when people are fishing from the same pool, and you've got these different disparate type of buyers, and then you've got these people that are, have got shadow accounts. They scan for that. People with shadow accounts buying 1 to 2 units, and they're pretty much buying up your stock and acting like a hijacker on the listing. They're making a great effort to get rid of people like that, because like what you said, they believe there is a level of scoring. And so, you could go and rank something and effectively be penalized for this without knowing. It's just the nature of the buyer who's taking those discounted products. So in some cases, and I'm not saying in all, but in some cases, if the launch services are not able to filter those kind of customers out, probably the safest route is to do it through Facebook ads in your own list, as there's a little bit more control and less likely of the same type of person every single time who's in these other groups are buying the products. Yeah.
And that's one of the big changes Amazon made too, is that buyers are, they put limitations on, on how many times they can review, for example, per week and per month and per day. There's numbers on that. There's numbers on, even review velocity now too on if you go over about 19% on reviews, you're going to have problems, and that can be a problem when people are launching, especially if they're using one of these launch services where some of those people have been on there for 3 or 4 years and they're conditioned to leave reviews, and you get too high of a review velocity, that can come back and bite you in the butt too. So there's a lot of things that have changed. Yeah,
without a doubt. Cool. Well, we kind of covered the giveaway side of things, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Also just to add to this, there's other things you can utilize within Amazon, like Amazon giveaways, right? Use that along during your launch and get, traffic and do a deeper discount to try to get those sales. Kevin, you're smiling as I mention this.
One of the things I do with giveaways and is
don't do them. One thing I do with giveaways is don't give away. Yeah.
No. The Amazon giveaways is, the more you can use Amazon's built-in systems to launch, the more Amazon likes you. So that could be PPC. A lot of people say, well, start off with your PPC at $5 a day or $10 a day. And I'm like, bullshit. Start at $500 a day. You might not spend that. You might spend 100 of it, 200 of it. You might spend it all, but in most cases you don't. But go a heavy dose of PPC. You're going to lose money. You're going to get data, but Amazon actually favors that. And go with stuff on Amazon's platform like the giveaways. And like when I do an Amazon giveaway, I'm not talking about, people mix this term up. Sometimes they say giveaway and that's like a 90% off coupon. I'm not talking about 9% off discounts with a viral launcher or whoever. I'm talking about the contest on Amazon where you can give up to 30 things and people can either have to watch a YouTube video or tweet or follow an author or whatever. And it's usually like depends, 1 in 2,000 or whatever the number is, chance of winning. And at the end of that, you can offer a promo code. But what I do to actually get a little extra juice off of that is I don't go into my Seller Central to set that up. There's an option in the promotions tab to set that up in Seller Central. I don't do that. I actually use my buyer account, my Amazon buyer account. I'll do a search for the keyword or whatever it is I'm trying to rank for. Say I'm trying to rank for eyeglasses or whatever. So I'll search for eyeglasses. I'll then also click on my PPC ad deliberately to give it some extra juice. And then I will go and set up the giveaway on the page. So you search down, I'll say set up a giveaway. It's on the listing page. I will set it up from that, buy 5, 10, 15, 20 units, whatever. And that way, all three of those things, I'm giving Amazon what they want. I've searched for something. I've bought something off the keyword. I clicked on an ad. I gave some juice to my PPC ad. I just did this recently with some Christmas stuff some Christmas candy. I launched the last time. I'm just doing some testing. It's not a whole lot of units, but it was just sitting there. And so it's super competitive. So I did that process. And all of a sudden, my PPC is working better on some keywords. All of a sudden, I'm getting a few extra sales. I'm not getting rich or anything, but it definitely works. So give Amazon what they want within their system, and they're going to reward you for it instead of trying to just constantly game it and come up with the latest hack.
Hey guys, that's it from us. Please rejoin us again in a few days' time.